Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 100 series, Everyday Awesome podcast, streaming live on Twitch. So, hello to all the Twitch followers right now. You're getting this podcast weeks before anyone else does. So, if you guys want to ever get these episodes before anyone, head over to twitch.tv/100_series. That way, you can see these streamed live as we're recording them, something new that we're doing here on the podcast. So we're definitely happy to have you guys on Twitch with us. That being said, I'm super excited to bring back a good friend of mine, local entrepreneur, running her own amazing brand, raising awareness about an issue that is touching a lot of us here at home, especially here in 2020, and that is mental health awareness with the Great Matters Collective. Haley DeGreve, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's so awesome. I love everything that you do, and it's awesome that you love what I do too. So good stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know that, as a creative, as a brand owner, that I love being able to support other people in their missions as well, because that's how we all grow, is by helping each other out and by supporting each other. So I'm always happy to help.
Thank you. Yeah, it means the world to me. So thanks so much.
No problem at all. But yeah, the last time we spoke was probably about 5 or 6 months ago. It was like right in the early stages of the pandemic and everything, and things were still closed down at the time. Lots changed in 6 months, obviously. Like, what have been like some of the things that you've seen happen, throughout the year?
Man, I mean, I guess on a personal level, I feel like I've seen a lot of growth within my own life, not only just professionally, and even with the Great Matters. I feel like my mental health has really gotten better, because when the pandemic first started, I was struggling myself. And I think, with COVID-19, I even hate saying that word. Like, I hate the word COVID right now because I feel like it's everywhere. But, when it first started, I was trying to support other people, but also having a hard time supporting myself as well. So I really had to learn to take a step back and really focus on my own self-care and my own mental health journey, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be someone that, is out here trying to get other people to care about their mental health when I don't care about my own. So that's something that's been very personal for me in my own development, my own growth, is learning to take care of my own brain health, my own mental health. So that's been something that's been big for me, and I've made a lot of really awesome progress the past 6-7 months since the last time we talked. But at the same time, there's been a lot that has happened within the mental health. I don't want to call it an industry, but I guess just the movement in general, the awareness movement. There's been some really great things happening, but then there's also been some really bad things happening. I think when everything happened with George Floyd, the racial tensions that were really starting to rise in America, we were seeing a lot of Black Americans struggling with depression and anxiety, and just the different things that were going on, the things that were in the news. It was really devastating to see a lot of my Black friends struggle like this. And I was trying to support them, but it's hard, as a white woman in America, it's hard to understand that perspective. And so I was just trying to listen and to learn and be there for my friends. So that was a really difficult time. And then, of course, through COVID-19, it's been difficult for people, and also at the same time as well, just every college students trying to go back to school and trying to learn, or high school students. The world is in such a weird place. And so I want people who are watching to know that it's okay not to be okay right now, because this is completely unprecedented. No one has ever dealt with this before, and we just have to learn to lean on each other. So there's been a lot that has happened with the Great Matters, with the mental health, just in the state of our country even, and in my own life. It's really kind of crazy to look back and try to connect some of the dots. But I think most importantly, I've just learned that, it's okay not to be okay. Like, we're all going to get through this together. That's the only way. We're stronger together. So that's, I don't know. That's just kind of been my thing right now. Togetherness, collectivism.
Right. I would have to agree with you on that. I think when everything started, there was so much uncertainty in the air, and that feeling of uncertainty, it's unsettling for a lot of us, not knowing what's going to happen next, or not feeling secure in our everyday lives, because we're all in this position before everything happened, that we knew what was going to happen basically day to day to day, and then
Mhm.
this gets thrown at us, and now everything is just tossed out the window, and it's tough. I'll be honest. It's been a tough year mentally for myself, but at the same time, I realize that I'm in this with everyone, and we're not alone. We're all going through this for the first time together.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's something that has brought me a lot of peace and security as well. But, do you even feel like being on social media and being so informed all the time has been kind of harmful to your mental health too? Because I've been feeling that way. Um, that, just being plugged in all the time, I think it can be helpful, but at the same time, especially with like elections going on, I almost just want to like throw my phone in the river and never
All
look
right.
back. I mean, do you feel the same way on that?
So I mean, yeah, I definitely have cut down like the time that I spend on social media. Like I usually only go on there if I'm putting something that I've created out there for people, and then
Mhm.
after that, I usually, I turned off my notifications on Facebook now, so I don't even really see it, and like I just go off and I just do my own thing, and I'll pop on, every now and again just to see what's up, and but I'm very careful with how much time that I spend on there, because I do know that. Oh, and actually, this is actually kind of what we touched on the last podcast that we did
Mhm.
on Friday with Josh Graves, Glenn, and Bert. Is, as a creative, I don't use my social media as like my own personal diary. That's not
Yeah.
how I use it, because I don't want like all these people who are on my friends list who aren't really my friends knowing all these things about me, and having these preconceived notions about who I may be, or what my own personal life might be like, or what my own state of mind might be like. So I
Mhm.
only post things regarding to my brand, and that's it. And like on my own, even on my own personal page, I just reshare my own stuff, or I'm putting out, something motivational for people to absorb. I want to put good out there if I'm gonna be on social media. So I don't do a whole lot outside of that. Um, as far as Facebook goes, because Facebook is just constant stream with just information, and there are just so many things out
Mhm.
there that are constantly fighting for your attention. They're fighting for your mind, and you have to be constantly conscious of what you're allowing to go, into your mind at all times, into your
Yes.
ears, into your eyes. It's all going to affect you one way or another, and
Yeah.
the cool thing about social media is that you can opt in and you can opt out as
Yeah.
well. Like, you don't have to feel like you have to be plugged in all the time. That information is going to be there. It's the internet, after all. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. You can come back to it whenever you want to. You don't have to know, and it's okay to, to just, put the phone down or turn off the notifications, and then, I don't know, read a book or pop on
Yeah.
a Netflix show or something. It's okay to be by yourself.
Yes, you are speaking so much truth right now. I feel like there's this pressure, and I almost am feeling it now more than ever with the pandemic, to be constantly putting out content on social media. Like, I feel like I'm trying to keep up with everyone. And, like you said, even as a creative, it can be difficult to do that, especially when, you have to take care of yourself as well. So I love that you turned off your notifications on Facebook, because I found through Twitter and Facebook both, I see like a lot of negative news, or things that, like you said, be careful what you're putting into your brain, things that are triggering to me in my own mental health journey. So it's a fine line between putting out positive things into the world, but also not triggering your own mental health in a negative way, or it's just difficult. But I think as creative, it's always that fine line of trying to do good, but also making sure that you're okay as well. It's so interesting. I don't know if you've seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix at all.
I've heard about it, and I'm aware of this concept of doom scrolling,
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
constantly just looking for like the negative things, which to me just sounds like a terrible idea to begin with. And like I said before, it's like it's a rabbit hole, you know. It's like you see one thing and it's like you want to figure out more about what's going on. And there has to be a point where you have to just say enough is enough.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because and this is the one thing that I always say when I used to, before I had my own podcast, I would go on to other people's podcasts and I would share about what I'm doing with the 100 series and how I got started and why I do this. And a lot of people always ask me, is like, how are you so positive all the time when there's so much, you know, crap going out there in the world? And here, this is why I always tell them, there is probably more good going on in the world than there is negative. You just don't hear about it. You only
Yes.
hear about
Yeah.
the negative stuff is because it's like there's this concept in science called entropy. Order leads to disorder. It's like we don't really acknowledge good things because we subconsciously expect good things to happen. So when
Hmm.
good things don't happen, those things get our attention, and you know they're easier to talk about,
Yeah.
right? So what I've always been trying to do is to remind people that don't get fooled by all these things happening, because I'm sure there are plenty of good people out there doing great things like yourself, like a TC Boyd, like a Victoria Viren, who have incredible backstories, incredible motivations for why they do the things that they do. And we need to take the time to find those stories, find the good, because
Yeah.
it's out there. You just have to be wise enough to know that's out there and to go find it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you have so much wisdom. I love listening to you talk, but and there's even this other side of it. Some of the feedback that I've received through the Gray Matters, just on my personal stuff, is a lot of people will say to me, Haley, when you do the Gray Matters or you speak publicly, like, you don't really talk about your personal experience. Because that first year that I really launched the campaign, I wasn't being super transparent about my own mental health because I didn't want to make it seem like I was doing this for myself, because the Gray Matters is a part of me, but I want to help people and I want other people to feel part of it. I want, you know, people to feel like they're not alone in this space. And so I've always struggled with being able to speak openly myself. And so I've heard a lot of people tell me that they want to hear more about it. So recently I've tried to do, more of that through like different podcasts and stuff. But I even, it's difficult to even share yourself in a vulnerable way on social media because you don't know what the response is going to be. So it's so much easier to just put out all the positive and the good stuff. But I feel like sometimes when you share the hard things that you're going through so open and honestly, people, you don't know how they're going to respond. So it's social media, I think, can be a very uplifting and great space, but it can also be this oftentimes scary place to openly be yourself. And that's where I think so many people do struggle, is the difference between what is social media and what is reality. And like you said, I think there are a lot of really good things that do happen in our world, but we just aren't hearing about it because people want to put out the negative and want to, we're attracted to gossip for some reason. So it's always, oh, this person put this out there, so we need to, hop on the bandwagon there. And, I look at those things and it just makes me want to unfriend people because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
we should be putting out more. Why are you not sharing good things? All I see is you're sharing bad and negative things. Why are we, like, there's just things that I think we could do better on as a society. So I completely agree with you. I think there's more good happening, but um, it's just the reality of it.
Exactly. And like again with social media, it's like social media just made information just more readily available. Like
Hmm.
the things that are happening in the world now, they've been happening long before social media existed. You just never knew about it because
Yeah,
there wasn't
yeah.
ever a vehicle to get that information out there. So I think that's also another thing that is overwhelming for people at the same time, is that they're seeing all these things, and you have to remember that Facebook is only what 16 years old. Like I remember, like, I was in college when Facebook started, when it was the Facebook. That's
Yeah.
if you want an idea of how old I am. I was on Facebook when it was still the Facebook, when there was still the poking, and it was still only for college students.
Yeah.
And so 15 years. So think about that. I mean, sure that a lot of the generation coming up right now, the Gen Zers, I say the Gen Yers, but I'm a Gen Yer, and we're kind of getting up there in age right now. So I'll say that the Gen Zers right now is, just know that things have been happening for a long time, long before your time, and things are gonna always be happening. But just remember that you gotta be able to find those things out there, those good things, and latch onto those. Latch onto those things, and once you start latching onto those things, you'll change your own mindset as well. I always said that from a mentor of mine, is that the more you surround yourself with winners, the more you can win. The more you begin, you believe you can win too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how social media is. It's association. You're the average of the 5 people you're around the most.
Yes.
So you have to think about that. That goes as far as mindset. That goes as far as finances. That goes as far as attitude.
Yeah.
So that's another thing you have to watch out for when you're scrolling, through your feed and your friends list. And I say friends in quotes because how many of the 100 or 1,000 or so people are real friends, and you have to be careful about who you're allowing to put stuff in front of your face.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it comes back to trust, I want more people in my corner than in my circle. You're so right. You're the average people, the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. And I constantly am thinking about that. I'm thinking about, are the people around me striving for more? Are they constantly challenging themselves, challenging me, holding me accountable, having those hard conversations? And yeah, I think I do have those people around me. Finally, it feels like. So you're right. You got to be careful with who you follow, filter your feed. That's what I've been doing, is I started unfollowing people if they were posting things that just were making me upset. I'm like, why am I following this person if what they're posting is actually damaging my mental health, or it's making me upset? There's no reason to really do that. So yeah, I think you're so right there. So it's difficult, and especially with a topic like mental health or suicide prevention, what I do with the Gray Matters, it's often difficult because you want to put out content that is engaging and is going to make people think, but you also have to be mindful of, I don't want to put out too much negativity, too many statistics that are going to overwhelm people and make people feel anxious about this problem. I want to do it in a way of, hey, this is the issue and let's all be part of the solution, and this is how we do that. So it's always tricky to try to find the balance between, education and awareness and then action. Like, where do we go next? But I think social media is a great tool for that education piece.
Absolutely.
It's just something that we have to keep, like you said, a lot of these things have been happening for a while, and they're just now finally being brought to light, and there's a lot of education going on, which is awesome. But we just got to be mindful about, even like the fake news piece of, fake statistics or fake things going on that are so easy to be believed. Because anyone could be a content creator now, right? Anyone could put stuff out there. And
that's another thing you got to be careful about too, is that some people will like to spin certain things to better fit their agenda or their narrative as well. So you just have to understand, and it's an unfortunate thing too, because now you have to be more careful about where your information is coming from. There are reliable sources out there, so always fact check. Always, don't just take what someone says as truth, even though it might seem like truth. Go out there and go to the reputable sources. Whether it's the local local news. I know that there have been some criticisms about the media recently about you know what's what side or what agenda they're on. But local news is always we're because I work in local news, so we're always
Yeah.
just out there to get the best information out there for people, and we want the community to have the right information. So
Yeah.
always make sure that you're fact checking what a person says on a post, even like if they post a link. Like sometimes I look at those links, I'm like, okay, like I've never heard of this place before. And it's like I always try to look for like any of the big three news outlets as far as
Hmm.
TV goes, or paper outlets, and
Yeah.
trying to see what they have to say. And if they're saying something similar to what you know Joe Cool over here is posting, then maybe I'll take it seriously. But
Hmm.
you gotta take things with a grain of salt. You just can't believe whatever and all of a sudden think that the sky is falling.
Yeah, no, you're so right. There's one person on that I have on Facebook that is constantly posting like super super negative news articles, and I go to these. They're almost like fear mongering articles. It's really crazy, but I often will actually go to the news site that they posted the link from, and it's not even like a reputable news source. So you're right. You got to be careful with like what news outlets you're even looking at, and also being mindful of like the agenda that that news outlet might have. And I agree with you. I think our specific local news does a really good job of like keeping the bias out and really just like reporting the facts, really laying the groundwork there. I think they do a really good job of that. So yeah, I always recommend to people to really make sure you're looking at credible sources, because you don't want to put fear in people for an issue that might not even be real.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, there was a on Twitter it was probably like a few months ago. Someone put out that it said something like there were more suicides in August of 2020 than COVID deaths. And there was no, like, they put this tweet out there and there was no like source to back it up, and it got like thousands of retweets, and people were sending me this tweet and they were like, is this true? And I was like, I mean, there's no way to actually know if that's true or not, because most of the data from 2018 is just now being reported on how many deaths by suicide there were in 2018. Like, we don't even have the 2019 data yet. So there's
Oh
no way to
wow.
even know about 2020. Like, all of that stuff is taken very seriously by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So they can't get the actual accurate numbers of deaths by suicide in America until a few years after. So 2019, like I said, those numbers haven't even come out yet. So it's impossible for us to know how many people died by suicide in August of this year in relation to the deaths of COVID. But it just seemed like they were trying to it kind of seemed like more of a fear mongering post. So I actually messaged the person and I just said, hey, I do a lot of work in suicide prevention, and I'm not really, do you have like a source that backs this up? And they basically replied and they were like, no, I saw it on Facebook and I posted it and it just went viral. So I'm like, you got to be careful with that stuff, because there's probably
Hmm.
people out here who are thinking like, it's in a way it helps suicide awareness because it's showing that like there is an issue, but it's also not a true fact. So, it's not credible. So at the same time, it's like you got to be careful with that stuff too. So
Oh yeah.
interesting how things can just go viral and people believe it too.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I wish that we could just take what people say as truth. But again, like there's so many companies out here, there's so many people out here that have their own agendas, unfortunately, and they'll use that to their advantage to get you on their side.
Yeah.
So you gotta be very careful. You gotta be so careful about who you're choosing to believe in. And it's like I said, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we have to do that, but for the sake of, like I said, for our own mental health, it's something that we have to take into account for.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I always advise people as well as if you struggle with a mental illness, you know, I spoke about this earlier, but bringing it kind of back, you know, just to make sure that you're being careful about what might trigger you, you know, because I've known people who have gone through intense breakups or have lost family members or things like that and have gone into deep depressions, and then they get on social media and they're seeing, you know, posts about their family member, or they're seeing posts about the person that they just went through the breakup with, and it really sends them into like a spiral, or they start to have suicidal thoughts because of this stuff, and it's a trigger. So I always, you know, advise other people, and I work on it myself, is to really be mindful of where you're at with your mental health in that moment, and think to yourself, you know, is it going to be healthy for me to be monitoring social media right now like I normally do? Because there might be something that'll come up that might really trigger my mental well-being, and I'm just not in a place for that. So it's always important to filter, but also take a step back, like take a break. You don't
Yeah.
always need to be on social media, you know. It's
Right.
the world will continue. You won't miss anything. You know, it's always that fear of missing out. I think so many people have FOMO, and we always feel like there's, you know, if we're not on social media, we're going to miss something. And it's like, no, like you probably won't miss anything. I'm sure you won't. And if it's something big enough, you'll hear about it anyways. So, yeah.
Right. And I would say try to find someone out there that you can rely on or who you can trust to be. Hang on, I think I'm getting a phone call.
Oh, no worries.
All right. But yeah, like I was saying, I would say try to find someone out there who you can trust or who you can rely on
Yeah.
to go to if you need help. I think that would be way more effective than just going on Facebook and making a sad post about what's going on, because I think
Mhm.
some people will see that, and like I see it all the time. I see posts like that, and like people will ask like, "Hey, what's going on?" but never get like a response from the person or whatever. Maybe they message them personally. I don't know, but I always feel like I see that a lot
Mhm.
on social media, and I feel that if you have someone who you can actually talk to about whatever it is that's going on in your life, that I think that'll be way more helpful than putting it on Facebook for a lot of people who may or may not, be interested, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's always good to have awareness posts, you know, like if you're sharing about your journey with mental health, you know, because I've been guilty of this where I've posted about something that I've been through, and then a few months later, I'll struggle with that issue again. And I'm like, oh crap, why did I make a post about that? Because now I'm struggling with it again. You know, it's like I was just talking to Kevin Atwood last night. You know, I do Foster His Voice suicide awareness with him. And, you know, we were talking about how when people will post like about, you know, sobriety or different things, and like there's a set number that you have, it's like, okay, I've been 50 days sober or whatever. If you relapse, like how hard that would be to talk about that openly, or you know, like if you post about it so much and then you relapse, and you're kind of like, you probably feel a lot of guilt and a lot of shame for that, and then it sends you into a downward spiral all over again. So we were just talking about that last night, like how mental health awareness posts can be so helpful, but there's also the other side of it, of the person who posts it. Not necessarily harmful for anyone else, but the person who posts it. If you make a post about doing really well and then the next week you realize you're really not, and then you
Hmm.
feel like a hypocrite and you feel guilty, because I've been in that place where I feel guilty about it, and then it sends me into an even darker place. So you just got to be careful with this stuff. It's always, you know, you got to think about what you're posting and how it's not only just going to affect other people but you too. So I always try to think about that.
That's very true. That's very true. Um, and like and I know I kind of touch on it though, like constantly, but just be very aware of what you're putting out there, because not just like you said for your own sake, but
Mm-hmm.
for everyone else's sake out there too. Because no matter what we're all making an influence on each other, whether it's positive or negative. So whatever you're putting out there can also affect someone
Yeah.
else that's
Yeah.
on your own page. So that's something also that you also should be aware of.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, it's always hard to know how things are gonna impact people. So I just, I always say, your social media is your space to use your voice. That's what I always say.
Hmm.
So just be careful about how you use it. Like you have the freedom to post whatever you want. I'm not someone that's gonna go out there and like, post all these things that might be really damaging to people just because that's not me. Some people do that stuff, or, they make fake anonymous pages to bully people. And it's like, why do we do this? Why do we do this as human beings? Let's all come together and just be one.
Hmm.
And it's hard to say that. It's so much easier said than done, but I just wish that we could all really come together and recognize that we are all human beings and we all have worth and dignity, and we just need to have a little bit more compassion and understanding, especially now we're all going through a pandemic. And I mean, it is what it is. We have to heal together. So I don't know. That's something I'm trying to do with the Gray Matters is bring people together, but
Hmm.
you can't force people to care about mental health or suicide, unfortunately. So it's just,
Yeah.
you can't force people to care about what you're putting out there, but you can at least try to make an impact to one person. And that to me is all I care about. If I can just reach one more person, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're reaching way more than just one person with what you're doing, which I think is incredible. I
Thanks.
think that my friend Cassidy, who she lives down in Missouri right now. I think I
Yeah,
introduced you guys.
yeah,
So, and like she's always been an advocate for mental health awareness. So I thought it was really cool to, if I could get you two guys to link up and get something done together, I think that would be really cool. And I saw the post you guys did last week.
yeah, yeah. I appreciate you making that connection. She's great. I really enjoyed reading her story and getting to post it on the Gray Matters. That's something that I personally has even helped me, has been the Okay Not to Be Okay campaign that we've done with the Gray Matters. Reading so many people's journeys and stories about their experience with mental health. And, a lot of them even said, I'm not ready to post about my own story, but I just want to send some encouragement out there. And to me, that's so brave, to be struggling and to still try to lift up some other people while you're at it. Like that to me is really incredible and brave. And everyone who shared their truth and their story, I mean, I read yours was awesome. I mean, everyone's was just blew me away. So I always say it's really not me. Like the Gray Matters is not me or Kevin Donovan or Kayla or Sage or Mackenzie, the other people that we have involved. It's all of us. It's everyone who follows the page, follows the movement. And same with the 100 series. Like, it's not just you doing all this. It's all of us. Like we're all part of this movement that you created, which is a beautiful thing. So, like the Gray Matters wouldn't be in existence if it wasn't for everyone who uplifted it. And it's really just about, like I said, reaching one more person. And if we can do that through social media, we're gonna try in the best that we can and hopefully do some good. The last thing I think you or I want to do is be, harmful, put something out there that's harmful to someone. So it's always hard. You just got to think about it and really take a step back.
Yeah, and like we're all trying to empower people to be,
Yeah.
the best that they can be. I think that's the most important part, is that I personally, just from my own story and my own life and how I was changed through just the power of self-help and the growth that I've seen over the last 10 or so years. And I figured if this was good enough to help me, then I know it's good enough to help someone else out. So since then, I just been duplicating my own in my own way and my own style to try to reach people
Uh,
through through these stories, through letting people have an opportunity to just share a little bit of their life. Because I think that's what a lot of us want to do, is just to know that we're being heard and that we're being seen.
Yeah.
Not a celebrity, not some athlete playing at the highest level, not a politician. They want to see Haley DeGreve. They want to see someone like Haley DeGreve. They want to see someone like a TC Boyd, someone like a Shane Allen, someone like a Christopher Cuning, like a Wes Julian, like a Young Scrimmage. They want to see, people that are living in their community, living with them, going through things, but still choose to succeed.
Yeah.
And I think being able to show that and say, well, hey, if so and so who kind of has a similar background to me can do it, then so can I. And
Yeah.
that's the 100 series right there. That's why I do this.
That's incredible. And you deserve all the accolades for everything that you've done. I think it's pretty amazing because I heard about the 100 series even before I got involved, and I just always have heard amazing things. So keep doing what you're doing because, like you said, it's tough work. And you're right, though. I think everyone wants to see the everyday people out here making a difference because I think that's where the most impact really is made. I think about mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Everyone always thinks it's up to the government officials or it's up to the mental health professionals to make the most change. And it's like, no, we need people like you and me. We need people that are just everyday, quote unquote, normal people, who I think are extraordinary, but they might consider themselves to be normal. We need those people to be the boots on the ground, to be the people to say, hey, mental health is important and suicide is a problem in America, and we need to be talking about this more. Because like I said, that's to me is where the most impact is going to be made, and really putting that pressure on the people at the top. But also, we're going to be the ones to do that. That's how decisions get made. That's how change is made. So it's so important to come together over that and to all be passionate about something. Just be passionate about something. Find what it is. Be the person that you needed when you were younger. And I feel like I've tried to do that for myself. And I know that you've tried to do that for yourself too. It's find what you struggled with and do something about it.
Absolutely. I love that. Be the person, say it again, be the person who you
needed when you were younger.
I like that a lot. I really like that. That's really good stuff.
That's been a goal of mine for that was the background on my phone for like years at one point. Because I was just like, I needed a me. Like I needed someone like me when I was like the me now, And so, yeah, I think it's so important. It's that inner child. You really got to think about that.
And that's another thing that I always keep in mind is like, I always think about like, what would like myself at 10 years old think of myself now.
Oh my gosh, me too.
And I always want to make sure that I'm making 10-year-old Juwan happy every single day.
Yeah, because we all deep down still have that 10-year-old us in us, right? Like we always have that spirit. So that's so funny that you say that because I do that too. I think about, would I be proud of where I am now? And if not, like maybe there's some changes that need to be made, or maybe your ideals have changed. I don't know, but I always am thinking about that. I'm like, would the 13-year-old me that was struggling, would I be proud of where I am now? And personally, I think I would, hopefully. I think I would, though. So, yeah, it's just all about growth.
Good stuff. So, what's next? What's coming up in the future for you for the Gray Matters?
So, a lot of big things happening with the Gray Matters. We just started the Instagram in June of this past year, and we just reached 600 followers, which is awesome. So we're growing at like a pretty decent rate on Instagram. Facebook, we're almost at like 2,000 likes, which is really awesome. So thank you everyone watching who supports the Gray Matters. It means the world to me. And I know so many others who struggle, and just seeing the support, it's incredible. But, moving forward with the collective, what we really are focusing on right now is building a website, which is going to be coming soon and is going to have a lot of awesome resources on it. Going to have some blog posts. We're going to have more podcasts. we're really just going to be trying to provide better resources and help for people. But at the same time, we really want to try to build those connections personally as well. So, really wanting to get more stories out there for the Gray Matters, and also trying to make sustainable change. So, something that I personally have been working on is meeting with Representative Mike Halpin and trying to push some legislation for different mental health bills that haven't been passed yet, trying to get some support from, the Illinois House of Representatives and trying to push some of those laws through. So there's some things happening there. And then also there was one more thing I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was. Website, meeting with Representative Halpin. And we're just going to be trying to put out better content, I guess. Really trying to reach people in a different way. I know what it was. So recently, the suicide prevention hotline number, the bill that was being pushed finally got passed and was signed by President Trump a few weeks ago. And so the national suicide hotline will be changing to 988, but right now it is not changed yet. I think they said it'll be July of 2021 before that shift will happen. So we're trying to encourage people, inform people better about things like that to get them more involved and actively engaged, but to also know that, hey, the suicide hotline is still the same. It's not going to change until we receive word, official communication from the National Suicide Hotline organization. But so that's kind of another thing, is just educating people, trying to get them more informed on the things that are happening on a national level and in their local communities too. So we're always looking for people to share their story or share whatever they want through the Gray Matters. All you got to do is message us and just say, hey, I really would like to have something like this posted, or, provide better representation there. So if anyone watching has any ideas, let us know. We're always looking to grow.
Nice. Now I want to switch over to the fun part. Well, I mean, it's all fun,
Yay!
but the cool part, which is the crow's nest, where
Yay!
I have a whole bag full of random questions here, fun questions. I don't even remember what I wrote on these. So this is gonna be fun. So I'm gonna pick out a couple of these and I'm gonna ask you them. Okay?
Okay, that sounds really fun. Oh, I love this.
Cool.
This is cool.
Let's see here. Let's see what this one says. If you could pick a theme song for your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh man. Oh, that's hard. I think a theme song for my life. This is like kind of cliche because I feel like this song was almost overplayed so much, but I really, really like the song Roar by Katy Perry. I don't know why. And I feel like that would be the theme song of my life because I've always been someone that I felt I was often very quiet on my views, or I was always scared to speak up, very scared of conflict. And now I'm finally feel like I found my voice, not only just in the mental health realm, but just in who I am and being so secure in who I am. And so now I'm ready for people to hear me roar. I want to get my voice out there and not have anyone be able to bring me down. So I feel like maybe that would be my theme song.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, I love Katy.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, she is.
All right. Let's get another one here. What is something no one else knows about you?
Ooh, I guess a lot of people don't know that I like to sing. That's a hobby of mine. I'm not amazing, but I'm decent, I guess. And then another thing, I guess, that people might not know is I'm double jointed, so I can do all kinds of weird things with my arms and wrists.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Also, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that people might not know that might be interesting. I can name 29 colors in under 6 seconds. It's a secret. You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to time me though. Literally, you have to time me. I think I'll be right under.
All right, hang on.
6. Just tell me when.
Let me get the stopwatch right here.
Okay, I can.
All right, and go.
Red, yellow, green, brown, scarlet, black, ochre, peach, ruby, violet, violet, lilac, gold, chocolate, mauve, cream, silver, rose, ashlar, rust, gray, purple, white, pink, and orange, or blue.
All right. And there also, I think there's a slight delay in
Yeah.
our call here. So I have it at
7. Oh, I was close. I was
but
close.
but there's also the delay as well. So that that could be a lot shorter
I'm
too.
so close. I'm usually right like at like 6:30. So I'm gonna have to work on it. I slipped up a little bit, but yeah, 29 colors because I used to be. I guess this is another thing. I used to be in theater. Like I loved theater, and I kind of gave it up.
Really?
Yeah, I gave it up in high school for sports, which I kind of wish I would have stuck with it. But I was in a play at Circa 21 when I was in 5th grade called Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and there was a song where we had to memorize all those colors. And
Okay.
I remember when I was going through the practice plays, they were like, "You're never gonna forget these colors. Like these colors will stick with you for the rest of your life." And for some reason, that always stuck with me. Those colors. So now I usually say I'm super fast, and I use it as like a weird fun fact because I'm like, who else can do that? Name 29 colors in like 6 to 7 seconds. So yeah, those are I guess some fun facts.
Cool. And if you said that you were in theater, well, as you know, there's the entertainment side of the 100 series as well. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
that's right.
always looking for actors for some of my other projects.
Hey, well, if you need someone, I mean, I'm not amazing. I stopped when I was, I think, in like 6th or 7th grade, so it's been a long time. But I can try. I was Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz once,
Okay.
so I have some experience.
All right. All right. Well, I'm sure you'll be great. A lot of the things I do are super simple. I try to keep them easy for because a lot of the talent I use here is all local and
Yeah,
from varying skill levels. So whatever it is, it won't be too hard.
yeah. I mean, you do such a great job with all that stuff. Like, I love the pictures that you took. Kind of like the horror pictures that you took with Mike and a few. I don't know some of the other people's names that were involved, but
Yeah,
that was cool. Those are good.
yeah. Slash line.
Yeah.
We're already planning part 3 for next year.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we have another one coming that we're working on. We're actually going to be taking our time with this. So we're starting now,
Yeah.
and it won't come out until this time next year. But we're getting everything ready to go so that because we're trying to take it to the next level for the next part.
That's amazing. Yeah, they turned out so awesome.
Thank
So
you,
good.
thank
You're
you.
very talented.
All right, I got one more here.
Okay, awesome.
Do you like to hang out with your parents?
I do. I do. I actually live at home, and it's just funny because we have this running joke that it's like a hotel here
Hmm.
because when I was living on campus, like I had no food there. It was I just was such a bad um like I was just so bad at living on my own. And so now that I live at home, like they like cook dinner for me and do all this fun stuff. But all my friends are like, "Man, like you live at home, do you like it?" And I'm like, "I actually love it. I love the company and I love bothering them and annoying them. I think that's my favorite part. Is they'll be sitting on the couch watching TV or something and I'll come upstairs and I'll just be like, "Hey guys, can I come join?" They're just like, "Yeah, fine." So it's always good, but I do enjoy it. I have fun with my parents and my grandparents too. My grandparents are really fun. My grandma knows how to Dougie, so
What?
we have a good time. Yeah, my grandma and my grandpa are both pretty fun people. They're 83, 82, 83.
Oh
And my
wow.
grandma still Dougie. She's still got it. So
I don't
I'm
even know.
lucky.
I don't even know how to Dougie. That's crazy.
Yeah, right. I know. She taught me how to do it. I was like, where did you learn this? But yeah, I mean, I have a really good family, so I'm really blessed. I love to spend time with them, because I always think, not everyone has a strong family foundation, and I've always been really lucky to have that. So I try not to take it for granted. And you never know. I always am worried to lose people, so I constantly am trying to spend more time with my family. Because I'm like, time is not guaranteed for anyone, you know?
So
So
true.
yeah, it's important to make sure the people around you feel appreciated and loved. That's what I always say.
Good stuff. All right. Do you have any last words that you would like to share with everyone before we wrap things up here?
I guess last words that I want to share is it doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, where you're at. What matters is where you're going. And if you're struggling right now, just hold on, just keep swimming. Your situation is not your final destination, and you can change your life within a matter of seconds. You have the power to do that. You've survived 100% of everything you've ever been through. Don't give up now. Be strong. You got this. And keep it 100.
I love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Haley, for coming back on here and sharing again. Appreciate you so much.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you for everything. You're thebomb.com. I think the world of you, and continue to bring good things in the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And everyone at home, thank you for checking out another episode of the 100 Series Everyday Awesome podcast. If you're on Twitch, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back here again very soon with another amazing person. So I wish you all peace, prosperity, and positivity. Take care of yourselves. And as always, keep it 100.